everyone. So myself Anas, and today I am presenting you a data sufficiency question in the special series by IMS. Please pause the video, give your best attempt, and join me back for the discussion. I hope you all must have given your best attempt. Let's discuss this problem. Before that, I like to give some time for the options, and because the answer choices in a data sufficiency question are always the same in the same order. Therefore, I like to give you a shorthand representation to remember them really well. So if you observe option A, right? Okay. Option A will be correct when statement 1 alone is sufficient, right? But statement 2 alone is not sufficient to answer my question. Option B will be correct when statement 1 alone is not sufficient to answer the question, but statement 2 alone is sufficient. And option C will be correct when neither of the statement alone is sufficient, but after combining, they become sufficient. Option D will be correct when both the statements alone are sufficient to answer the question. Option E will be correct when neither statement 1 is sufficient, nor 2 is sufficient, and neither after combining they are sufficient. Let's focus on the question. A small size car costs $21,000. Full size car costs $25,000 as per the owner. Are there more small size cars than full size cars among the overall number of cars the agency bought? So my first point that I'm able to see here is that the question is a yes or no style question. A very important category in GMAT, guys. Yes or no style DS question. They're asking are number of small size cars greater than number of full-sized cars. Okay. This is a yes-no DS question. Always remember, a statement will only be sufficient if it is able to give us a definite yes as an answer to our question or a definite no. Okay, but not both. Let's see this in the question. So let me write down the other information given here. So we also know that the cost of one small car is $21,000. I'm using K, right, just for the thousand. And cost of one full-sized car is equals to $25,000, right? Yeah, perfect. Let's start with statement 1. So statement 1 tells us the agency bought total 9 cars. We can translate this statement like this. Let's say number of small cars are X, number of full-size cars are Y. So we can make an equation X plus Y equals to 9. Now, what can you say about X and Y? The sum of the cars is 9. There could be multiple possible values. For example, X could be 1, Y could be 8. Now, the answer to my question is X greater than Y. The answer is a no, right? But I can flip the table, right? Yes or no? If I take number of small cars as 8 and number of full-size cars as 1, still the total is 9. But now the answer to my question, are number of small-size cars more than number of full-size cars? The answer is yes now. So we are getting both answers, no, a yes, both. That means the statement 1 is insufficient to answer my question. And whenever you get statement 1 insufficient, find the opportunity to eliminate option A and option D. All right. Now we are ready to move on for the statement 2. So statement 2 says that the agency paid a total of $205,000 for its cars. We know that one small car costs $21,000. And if X cars are bought, can I say total amount spent on small size cars will be 21,000 into X? And similarly, total amount spent on full size cars will be 25,000 into Y, right? And that sum will give you the total amount spent. That is $205,000. Perfect. Now we can cancel off this 1,000 because that is common, right? So we have an equation 21X plus 25Y equals to 205. Now we might think that this equation looking very much similar to the first case. And again, we might be getting multiple cases, and hence we can say statement is insufficient. Don't make haste, guys. There is a point where the GMAT people sets a beautiful trap. Okay. Always remember, if you have a single linear equation with two variables, there might be a possibility that this equation have only a unique solution. Okay, how will you going to try that, right? Always look at the constraints on the variables that you have. Observe, X and Y are what? They are number of cars, right? Have you ever bought 1.32 cars? Have you ever bought minus 900 cars? No, right? Okay, exactly. So what can I conclude here is, because the agency is buying some small size cars, some full size cars, right? And there might be a possibility that they are buying only one of them, maybe only small size cars, maybe only full size cars. Okay, they have not mentioned, right, anywhere that they are buying at least one of them, right? Okay, so what can I say for sure from here is that the value of X and Y could be 0 or could be a positive integer. They might have bought some set of, you can say, small size cars and wide size cars, or maybe just exactly one of them, right? So what can I conclude here is that X and Y are nothing but non-negative integers. And what are non-negative integers? Non-negative integers are nothing but 0 and positive. Okay, because number of cars they bought might be 0 or might be a positive integer, right, for the individual you can say category. Okay, perfect. So now to figure it out whether or not you will be having a unique solution, right, or multiple solutions, you have to apply hit and try. And that is the only method, right? Because by hit and trial, you will get to know, is there a unique solution exist or multiple solution exist? Let's apply that. So we need to remember in our head, what is that? That X and Y are nothing but non-negative integers. Non-negative means 0 and positive. So guys, hit and trial, what I can do, a simpler way is, I can just write this equation in this manner. Watch out here. So Y equals to 205 minus 21X divided by 25. Now hit and trial means that you put values of X and check the value of Y. If it is satisfying what we already have deduced, then that solution will be acceptable. I will show you a part of it. Let's say I put X equals to 0 here. What will be Y? Y will be 205 minus 0 upon 25, and that will be 41 by 5, which is not an integer. Hence, this solution is not acceptable. Okay, so my hit and trial doesn't work here, right? I mean, the first, the first hit and trial. Now I will do the hit and trial again. Increase the value of X. If I put X equals to 1, Y will be 205 minus 21. That will be 184. 184 by 25 will again be a fraction, right? Again be a decimal. So I can say again, this will also not going to work. So sir, do I have to keep on plugging in and checking? Remember guys, in GMAT, there is no calculator in the section, right? That's why these guys are not that cruel, right? Okay, they always try to give you such values where the calculation will not be that tedious, right? So try to search out that pattern, right? Observe with me. We are looking for a number in the numerator that could be divided exactly by 25. Think what kind of numbers are divisible by 25, or let's write the table of 25. 25 ones are 25, 25 twos are 50, 3s are 75, 100, and so on. Observe that last digit is 5 or 0, right? Last digit is 5 or 0. So a better way of hit and trial is, try to think what value of X I should put so that the numerator can end up with either a 0 or 5. Then I will try to divide it by 25 and will check whether it is divisible or not. By doing this, the chances of getting the right number is higher. Okay, I'm not saying that any number ending with 0 or 5 will be divisible by 25. That's not correct, right? 15 is not divisible by 25. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is, if a number ends with 0 or 5, it has a higher probability that to be divisible by 25 as compared to others. Let's do it. So if you observe here, X into 1 will be X only. So now think, 205 minus last digit is X, right? You want the units digit to be either 0 or either 5. So 5 minus what will give you 0? 5 only. Let's place x equal to 5 then. So if I place x equal to 5, let me see what will I get. So if I put x equal to 5, so 21 5s is 105. 205 minus 105 is 100, and 100 by 25 will be 4. So guys, x and y both are nothing but non-negative integers. Hence, we got the first solution right. Okay. And the solution is x equals to 5 and y equals to 4. That is one solution I got. Now let's think, is it possible to get multiple solutions? Okay. Let me increase the value of x. So if I try to get 5 right in the units place of this subtraction, so let me put x as 10, right? Because if I put x as 10, let me get some space here. So if I put x equals to 10, right, what will I get here? Y, 205 minus 210 divided by 25. This is even negative, right? Minus 5 upon 25, right? So y cannot be negative, right? Y can't be negative. So this solution is also not acceptable, right? Although minus 5 is not divisible by 25, but we are getting negative, right? Negative is not acceptable, right? Now you can easily observe, if you increase the value of x from 10, y will always be negative, whether fraction or integer, but it will always be negative. Try x equal to 15, right? 21 into 15 will be very much greater than 205, right? So you will get 205 minus 21 as minus 21 into 15 as a negative number. So y will always be negative now, and even more negative as you increase the value of x. Hence, we can conclude that this is the only solution we can get. Only solution. Okay. Hence, we can answer our question, is x greater than y? Yes, x is greater than y, and the answer we are getting is a definite yes. Therefore, statement 2 is sufficient to answer my question. That makes option B as correct. So please apply the same concept in the next question, right? And post the answers in the comment section, and don't forget to join me in the next video. Till then, thank you so much. Here is your question. Bye everyone, take care.